Yo, this is Joel Davis,
And I'm Gracie Davis,
and this is Greater Than Real Estate.
where we go deep to find out who you really are beyond real estate.
Yo, what's up? We are back with Greater Than Real Estate with our newest guest, the one, the only, Nav Singh. Nav, hey, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. It's nice to be on this side of the mic. I get to think a little less today.
Yeah, so you've been in a podcast before. You actually run a podcast. Can you remind us what that podcast is?
So we don't have like a really official name. You know, we called it the Sing series, but now we kind of shifted to, just kind of talking to people, doing clips, and, it's not real estate focused just like you guys. It's like everything. We've had my friend Lambo Luke on there who runs an exotic rental company in Dallas. We've had lenders, we've had agents. So like it's everything and in between. So it's been awesome, and I just need to get back to it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we kind of want to get the listeners to know a little bit about you. So kind of give us a background. Where did you grow up?
So born and raised in Arlington, Texas, went to Ditto Elementary, went to Young Junior High, went to Martin High School, and then went to UTA. So Arlington forever, but I actually don't live in Arlington anymore. I live in Dalworthing Gardens, which is pretty much Arlington.
Yeah.
But it hurt when I got my new license that said Dalworthing Gardens. It was just like, dang, I think they should just combine the cities.
Yeah. I think they feel that way about Pantego
As
too.
well,
It's
right.
like, why be separated? Let's all come together.
Yeah,
And just be Ag Town.
Maybe
Yeah.
that would make Pantego's water better. Please. That is, God.
Yeah, and maybe you could drive through Pantego or DWG without getting a ticket.
Oh
I
my
know,
gosh,
I
that
know.
is ticket heaven.
Yeah.
Is it just because they have such a small range that they've got to get everybody in as soon as they're passing through that area?
I think they really care about the community safety, and they're
Yeah.
like, hey, like we want people to know like you are not speeding through our town. Like
Yeah.
so I think that's why that
Yeah.
happens. But I mean, luckily no tickets in DWG or Pantego. One time in college, but that was like a long time ago. So
Yeah. It's off
Yeah.
the record.
it's off the record. Yeah.
Did you do defensive driving?
Yes. Of
Yep,
course.
you got to. You got to. That's my number one question for my
Oh,
my
yeah.
clients. If they get a speeding ticket, I'm like, do defensive driving, then it won't be on your record.
Yeah.
The insurance doesn't have to know about it.
Yeah.
you
So
go.
you said you went to UTA.
Yep.
What'd you get your degree in at UTA?
I got my degree in psychology. I was super involved. In high school, I was kind of involved in like key clubs. So it was like a big community service organization.
Yeah.
Me and my sister, we were actually co-presidents. So fun fact, that was the largest key club in the world. We had like 700 members. So
What?
yeah, at Martin High School. So
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of where I think our like leadership kind of started.
Yeah.
But I remember going to UTA and I was like, man, I want to really get involved and just really meet people. And I didn't know it would transfer into like a career. It was
Yeah.
just like, in college it was started for like, just networking, meeting people, and it just became fun. It's just like, oh, like you need something? I know someone, right? So
Yeah.
now that transferred into what I
Yeah.
do now.
Yeah. So I was going to ask, how did that move into real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still helping like friends from college to this day, and now I'm actually helping a lot of their parents as well.
Wow.
So like either they're
That's great.
downsizing or they're getting bigger homes.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my college friends are actually some way either involved in real estate or on my real estate team or at my brokerage, or they're in the lending world. So it's all connected. If I actually sat down and drew out a map and like it would just be one big web. Because even some of my like high school friends, like they're at the brokerage now. So it's like it's all connected.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How is that leading some of your friends?
You
that you
know,
had?
it's I think there's mutual respect. Nobody
Right.
I don't feel like I have anybody that works for me. We work together.
Right.
So, the fact they could go anywhere and they choose to like hang their license with me and they want to
Yeah.
build a brand with me, like basically like it's a partnership. Like
Yeah.
no, I don't work for them, they don't work for me, we work together. So it's actually really I really enjoy it, and especially you can see the like people on my team. Majority of us are, we started off when I started in real estate, I was in my mid 20s. Now we're early 30s, so it's kind of like, the stuff that we used to do, we used to go out on the weekends, and we all used to be like, oh yeah, you want to go here, here, and here. Now it's more like, okay, hey, we can grab dinner like maybe like once or twice a month because we're all busy. But I remember like when I started, when like even 3 years ago, it was like we were going out every weekend and stuff like that. So but we've built those relationships, and those people are still here. So it's nice working with people that you can get along with. Like one of the first things that I always talk about is like, people are like, how do you pick an agent to represent, Singh Real Estate Group or Signature Real Estate Group? I'm like, well, if I wouldn't buy a house from them, they're probably not a good fit for being with my brand.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of like, okay, well, let's say I had nothing to do with real estate and I met this person at an open house. Would I buy a house from them? Yes or no? And that kind of tells me if like they belong with us or not.
Interesting. That's super cool. So I'm sure you started out as a solo agent.
Yep.
What made you want to move into the team aspect?
Just people reaching out and asking for like mentorship. And then like, when I started out, I was on a team, but it was a very high producing team. And, they were honest with me. They were like, hey, we don't have time to mentor you really. Like, we're already doing really good. And I went to them and I was like, hey, teach me. And so I kind of always felt like a bother anytime I would pick up the phone and call my team leader. And, sometimes he wouldn't answer because, of course, he was busy. He was at listing appointments and stuff like that. So he was doing stuff that he had a priority with. But I was just like, okay, there's a lot of other agents that are younger out there like me that have the talent, that know people, and they want to do well. So that's where it kind of like clicked. I was like, okay, first person that reached out to me was my friend Yvonne Cisneros, and it was actually his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Yvonne. And he was actually the first person that was like, hey, I really see what you're doing, and I really like love what you have going on, and I want to like teach me. And so it turned into something very great. And then he introduced me to one of his friends, Israel, who's also one of my top producing agents. And he was like, I have a friend, Israel, you need to teach him, and he'll work hard too. And then it just kind of started growing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as like the mentorship part, how long did it take for you to be in real estate before people started wanting to work with you and work under you?
Yeah. So I got licensed September 2016, and I was on a team for about 2 years. And then after that 2-year mark, I went and became an individual agent. And I was at that year, I was at JPAR.
Okay.
So 2019, I became an individual agent, and I just really hit the ground running. And like that year, I finished like first from the Arlington JPAR office. There was about 200 agents there. I think I finished first in transactions and like second in volume out of like 200 agents.
In your first year as a solo agent?
Yeah. At JPAR Arlington. So basically, I mean, I was like, okay, well, I have this part of real estate figured out, like an individual agent. And then like, I think like, so 2019 ended, and 2020 around like March or April of 2020, people started reaching out. They're like, hey, we see what you're doing. Like, can you help us? So we didn't officially become a team until like, I would say like October or November of 2020, but I had already started helping people in like May and June of 2020. Like I had already started like helping people and became a team leader officially like October 2020.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So now we're in 2024 and we're sitting here.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when it transitioned into you like getting more leads and closing more things, how did you get your network there? Was that something that just organically came? Was it a lot of people you knew?
Yeah.
What really helped you stand out?
I mean, I think it's like the people that I knew, like all the hands that I shook in college, like, like all those people, like just kind of remembering like, oh, hey, this guy does real estate and I like him and I trust him. Like, so I feel like for people to do business with you, first of all, they have to know you, then they have to like you, then they have to trust you. So
Yeah.
if you can accomplish those three things, people will work with you. So and then it's just people should know what you do. So I made sure, like, on social media, like, I told people, I was like, I remember my first client in like, this was right as I had just gotten licensed, like, so like October or November of 2016. I got licensed in September. October, I think I finally put it out on Facebook, like, hey guys, I got my real estate license. And then, like, literally that day, one of my college fraternity brothers calls me and he's like, hey, I need to sell my house. I need to buy my house. I need to sell this house. I need to buy a house. I was like, cool, I don't know what to do. So I will say, like, my mentor, he went with me to my first listing appointment. I kind of, watched him, and he kind of told him, hey, this is what we're going to price it at. And then right after that, we went to, we went on the market and we sold super quickly. And then, I helped him buy a house, got him connected to a lender. And like I had mentioned earlier, my mentor was really busy.
Yeah.
So he was like, hey, you're going to go write this offer. I'm looking at my first contract. They don't teach you how to fill out a contract in real estate school. And so he was like, hey, this is a lender. You should go talk to them and they'll help you fill out the contract. So me and this lender are filling out this contract, and she doesn't really know what she's doing.
That's a liability, right?
Yeah. And she didn't really know what she was doing either, because she was just trying to help me. She was trying to do me a favor.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, hey, I really need to. So, like, went to some more training and, like, started, like, really learning that, like, okay, hey, and that's when I kind of realized, like, hey, okay, maybe not finding, like, the toppest producer is always the best, because they're not going to have the time for you. But I mean, I'll never guilt my mentor for this, because he literally told me, he was like, I don't have the time. But I was like, no, I want to learn from you. So so it was kind of like all like that was like a big learning experience. So, like, that told me, like, hey, like, you really need to know what you're doing to become successful.
Yeah. So I think the one thing that kind of amazes me about you is you do have the time, which is nuts, because I don't think you have any time. But how did that previous mentor affect how you basically handle your day-to-day? Because I feel like you always answer your phone.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm not answering my phone is if I'm in like a podcast or in a meeting or with a client. And even if I'm with a client, I'll try to shoot back a text like, hey, I'll call you right back. It's tough, but I mean, that's where I learned from that, right? Like, hey, make yourself available, because you never know who's calling or why they're calling. It may be just someone to check up, like, hey, how are you doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how often do people do that anymore? Like, not really.
Yeah.
I think we should all do that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you just never know why someone's calling. So if you can't answer, just call them back whenever you have time. You know what I mean? And we can all make time. We all do have the time. We just choose to be, oh, I'm so busy. You know what I mean? Like, we all are busy, but we can make time.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you maintain a good work-life balance with running a team? And tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so my family is amazing. I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for my family. There's such a big help. My mom, my sisters, my dad, my uncle, my aunt, my little brother, my wife, like, and my amazing son. He's turning 2 months old tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, I'm so blessed in a family life aspect. Like, they understand. They're like, they know some days I'm driving 200 to 300 miles. They're like, you need to get your sleep. We're so worried. What if something happens to you on the road? Like, I'm like, oh, you guys want me to sleep? Okay, I'll go sleep. But no, they're super amazing. They're so caring. Like, that phrase, it takes a village. It truly does take a village to make all the moving pieces happen. Like, like my dad and uncle and I, like, we work on properties. We have rentals together. We have flips going on together. And, like, so, like, it's like, who's available, right? Because they're running their own business. They have a car dealership. They've been doing that for 30 plus years. And, really seeing them is kind of also like a huge, like, they are like my kind of like business inspirations, because, they came here to America with like $500, and then they started from the bottom, and they literally to be working the way they are, having a car dealership now, and buying rental properties and figuring it out. Like they figured out real estate before, like, no realtor help, no nothing. And like,
Wow.
they started buying foreclosure properties that like they just knew, like in 2011, they were like, it's time to buy real estate. And
Wow.
so, they've kind of been like the visionaries, and I like, they showed me the vision, and I kind of was like, okay, I see the vision.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show that same vision to my little brother. I'm gonna
Mm.
show the same vision to my son and my future kids. Like, so it's
Wow.
like family is what really motivates me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's really cool.
you hinted on the cars.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your cars.
Yeah.
Is that your? You said your wife's guilty pleasure is handbags.
Yeah.
Is cars your guilty pleasure?
Oh, 100%. I mean, my dad had a car dealership when I was growing up. So
Yeah.
I started working there when I was like 13, 14, working.
Working for free.
Yeah. I was just hanging out,
Yeah.
I was just hanging out and just kind of like just seeing what's going on, and like, seeing my dad interact with customers, and seeing my dad like, run a business,
Yeah.
provide for his family. So it kind of opened up the like, oh, like, okay, hey, this is how you make a living. You have to either go to work for someone, or you got to
Yeah.
go to work every single day for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. Like I get this, right? And then of course, like it's like cars, right? And like my dad and them, they've always loved BMWs and Mercedes. So like we've at our dealership, if you ask me to this day, I'll tell you like a Honda is probably the most reliable car out there. And then if you want like a good luxury reliable car,
Yeah.
Lexus, like, there's nothing better than a Lexus. Then
Yeah.
of course you have your Mercedes and BMWs that come with a little bit more maintenance, And so those are the type of cars that my dad and uncle still sell to this day.
Mm.
And so I always just naturally liked cars. My first car in high school, I was blessed enough. My parents, they were like, hey, if you're a good kid, we're gonna give you one of the BMWs,
Yeah.
but don't mess this up. And I didn't mess it up.
Oh.
So
That's when you got your
Thank
tickets
you.
from DWG.
that was in college. I still remember the car I was driving, and it was a really nice V8 Mercedes. And I was just flying down, going home from college party to go home, and I got pulled over. And I mean, we all make mistakes, but
Yeah.
I mean, I've always loved cars. So
Yeah.
Do you have a bucket list car?
man, I look at cars every day, and now it's more so now that I'm getting a little bit older, I'm realizing, okay, cars are just point A to point B. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
of course, I still one day, 10 years from now, it would be really nice to have like a Rolls Royce SUV. It would be really nice to
Yeah.
have like a, you got 3 or 4 different cars. Like
Yeah.
if you ask me like right now what my perfect car garage is, I'd like a F8 Ferrari. I'd like a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
I'd like a F8 Ferrari, a Rolls Royce Cullinan, and then probably something like crazy like a Lamborghini Aventador. So like
Yeah.
those would be like, that's the perfect car garage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is funny.
That's great. Do you what was I gonna say? Dang, I forgot what I was gonna
You got blinded by all of the nice vehicles that
Yeah.
you were imagining in your garage.
Yeah.
So outside of real estate, do you have any like hobbies, anything that you enjoy other than cars
Yeah.
that you like to get into?
I mean, we take a lot of trips. My friend group, there's always something going on. Everyone's getting married, so there's always like I feel like since 2019, I've been on at least 3 to 4 like trips, like whether they're wedding related, like a bachelor party, or like
Yeah.
engagements or something like that. So
Yeah.
I just enjoy time with my friends. I do like going to Mavs games and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
really, I mean, I do like going to concerts as well. I listen to all kinds of different type of music. I listen to cultural Punjabi music. I listen to rap. So
Yeah.
if there's a concert, like I was at the Bad Bunny concert, our buddy Hamilton took me
Yeah.
to the Bad Bunny concert.
Gosh,
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Yeah, so me, Aziz, Israel, and Hamilton went, and it's a different type. I don't understand Hispanic music, and
But it just gets you
Yeah.
going.
yeah, so Hamilton
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, do you want to go to this concert? It's
Yeah.
Bad Bunny." I was like, "Bro, of course I want to go to Bad Bunny." And then he was like, "Oh, by the way, we're in a suite." I was like, bro, I'm there. Like, you know, so yeah, like I would say like concerts, sporting events. Like I
Yeah.
make sure I go to at least 2 Cowboys games a season, win or lose, right? We're there.
Yeah.
I try to go to at least 2 or
True
3
fans.
Mav games a year.
Yeah.
So I would say I like watching like basketball and football.
That's awesome. Well, so I'm a little bit of an outsider. Gracie grew up in Arlington. I didn't. You grew up in Arlington. But I've noticed there's a huge culture of, I don't know the correct way, but Indian culture at UTA and around Arlington.
Yeah.
Can you hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think UTA is a big international school. And so it's pretty amazing to see how many students are coming from over there.
Yeah.
And I feel like DFW is just becoming a melting pot. But like, especially if you even go to like Frisco and if you go to like Legacy West, you're just seeing a lot of Indian people just in general. So, I mean, they're doing really well.
Yeah.
The IT boom is real, and I'm very impressed with how hardworking young Indians are. I think I saw a stat that said something along the lines of they are the highest earning, like in the Indian demographic is the highest earning demographic. Like when they like kind of like ranked them, and I think it's just a work ethic that our parents have instilled in us. It's like, hey, you gotta go up, get up, do the right thing, go to work, be good people. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, culture is a big part of, I feel like, who you become.
Yeah.
So like who you surround yourself with, but it's how you're raised to. I was talking to someone yesterday, and this line really hit me. And he has a daughter, and I think she's 2, and he he's like, I was like, man, being a parent is hard. And he was like, don't worry, like good people are good parents, and good parents have good kids. And I was like, okay. That kind of took away a little bit of the tension. I was like, all right, I can be a good person. I can have a good kid,
Yeah.
But so, I mean, of course, like life's not perfect or easy, right? But like, you hear that and it's like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, like the life is going to happen, but you can just do what you can control, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think one thing that I like kind of like live by is just like, if there's something that's like, something's happening and can I do something to change it?
Yeah.
Is it in my control? If it's not, then I'm just kind of like, why am I stressing about it?
Yeah.
Like it's happening regardless, right? And I think that's even in transactions in real estate, right? Like, I know we're not really talking about real estate right now, but like one of the really big takeaways, like kind of helped me in my career, was every single transaction used to stress me out. Like if a listing agent's calling me or if a buyer's agent's calling me, I'm like, what are they calling about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you're a newbie, like, so I would answer and I would be like, as soon as I got off the phone, I was like, that meme with that dog with everything's on fire? that was like what was going on in my head all the time. So I was like, man, this has got to change. And like the industry's not going to change. I have to change. My mindset has to change.
Yeah.
And so once I got that mindset, it was like, hey, it'll be okay. If I can do something to make the deal happen, I'll do it. And even if that doesn't work out, then it wasn't beyond my control. If I did everything I could, then it's done.
Yeah. So in a business that's 100% commission with a lot of moving parts, how do you stay motivated every day to continue just pressing on to the next thing?
Yeah, we all start at 0, right? December 31st, January 1st, 2025. What I did in 2024 is not going to matter.
Yeah.
So it psychs you out, right? Like it's like, but you keep working hard and, business evolves, right? Like, so like, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in real estate right now. And it's just like, okay, you shift. You're like, okay, I'll do more flips. I'll go buy more rentals, like you have to you have to really shift your mindset, like, because the media is always going to be like, oh, the world's ending, right?
Yep.
Right.
So, I mean, if that was the case, I would have exited the industry in 2020.
Yep.
I would have exited the industry in 2021. So, like, it's just a mindset thing, right? Like, I kind of like, to answer your question, it's just literally I keep myself going by like knowing like, hey, it's gonna be okay, like on to the next, like like business is business, like it sucks, like you could have a killer month, and then next month sucks, but guess what, you did have a killer month, and then or 1 year you could have an off year, life happens, right? So but I think if you tell yourself like, hey, I'm just gonna do the very best I can every single day, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. That's how I do it with myself. I just tell myself like, hey, cool, whatever happens. Whatever I can control, I can control. I'm going to keep marketing myself. I'm going to keep, letting people know, if you need to buy or sell, contact me, I'll help you. And then same thing with like agents at my brokerage. Like, you'll be surprised how many people I talk to. I'm like, what are you doing in your business? Yeah. And like, people want extraordinary results, but they put in the bare minimum. So like, I asked my agents this question. I'm like, hey, how many hours of true work are you putting into your business? And some of them will be like, and I'll be like, a week, like, and they'll be like, oh, like 10, 15.
So a week.
And this is not just agents that work at my brokerage, just agents in general, right?
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, okay, so you're putting 15 hours a week into your business, right? And if you were working a 9 to 5, you'd be working a minimum of 40 hours.
Right.
So right now, you're not even doing the bare minimum, and you want the results of a top producing agent. Yeah. So like, if you're kind of just expecting it just because you got your license, you're in the wrong industry. You're not going to be successful. Yeah. And I think that's usually like because like, I think one of the toughest things about real estate is you have freedom. You don't have a boss telling you what to do. Your brokerage owner doesn't really care if you're producing or not, right? They're not going to come up and be like, hey, Joel, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, when you are producing, they're going to be like, oh, hey, keep it up, right? But truly, I think it takes a good person and a great leader to kind of help people realize, like, everyone, and this is another thing I'll say, everyone's solution is like, oh, where can I buy leads from? I just need to buy leads. Yeah. How are you going to get strangers to work with you when the people that you know and they should like you and they should trust you, they won't use you, but you want a complete stranger on the internet? You think that's going to solve your problems? Yeah. Like, no, it's not. And people will be so quick to like, oh, I will cold call, I will do this. That's great. But again, focus on the people that build a sphere. And it's like, okay, cool. If you move into a different, if you move to here from like a different area, right? Do open houses. Go join clubs. Go play pickleball. Go join a rec team and play basketball with people. Go golf. Go join a boat club. Yeah. Like little things like that. Like so, like I think people go too quickly to the easy answer and the easy solution, which is not the solution. No, the solution is meeting people, knowing people knowing you and liking you, and then they will do business with you.
Yeah. One thing I love about you is just your wisdom at such a young age. And I've seen how you interact with your team, and I've seen how you motivate them, and just you ask the hard questions. And I feel like you mentioned, that takes a really great leader to be able to do that. So it's extraordinary that you've been able to become what you are today and the leader that you are. And it's just, it's very impressive. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And emphasis on the young. No, I'm just kidding. I really appreciate that. It's like people come to me and they're like, oh my God, like, you know so much about real estate. And it's just like, I just try to learn. Right. Yeah. And then like, same thing with like people saying like, you're leading like 30 agents and stuff like that. Like, how do you do it? And honestly, like I feel really blessed. Like people even listen, right? Like, and the people that listen, like, when they do well, that makes me even happier. It's like, I see my agents that, were working 9 to 5s, and now they're, it's like they're working 9 to 5s, right? And now they're in real estate and they're kind of doing their best, and they've like, it's May, but they've already made what they would have made in their whole entire yearly salary by like May. So I'm like, wow. Like, and then when they tell me that, like, I would have never been able to do this without you, I'm like, yeah, you would have figured it out. But like hearing it is nice. Right. So it's like, we're all connected and we're all on these paths. And then like, it's like, okay, cool. If we can go together, it's even nicer.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you hit on marketing a little bit. I want to talk about how you have such a great social media presence. When did that hit for you? Because we know that social media now is kind of becoming a huge thing, and that's where a lot of people are taking in their information. I think they said TikTok is actually a higher search engine than Google now.
Yeah.
So how and when did you kind of pivot in your business to implement a lot of social media?
Yeah, so 2019, I was like, man, Instagram, like a lot of people were using it for personal and stuff like that, and I was just like, in 2019, I already knew. I was like, this is a great tool, and this is how I can meet people that I've never met before. This is how I can get my story out there, right, and show the world what I can do. So I started video marketing in 2019, and I wouldn't say like, oh my God, like I figured it out. Like, you know, I did, like, it's still to this day, like some of my videos, they don't get like a lot of views. Like, I mean, and it's it depends on who you're talking to, right? Like to somebody, 2,000 views on a video is like, oh my God, you know? And I would say 2,000 views on a video is like, oh, it's decent. But like to the ultimate influencer, like that has like 2 million followers, if their video got 2,000 views, they'd probably freak out. They'd be like, what is this? Like, you know, so it's all relative, right? We're all like, and I think that's the thing is we get caught trying to compare ourselves to too many people. Like, you know, oh, that person has that many followers. Well, you know, you don't know how many of them are real. You don't know how many of them are like
Purchased.
Purchased. Like, so it's all relative, right? Like I just had a video last week, and I mean, I've had viral videos on TikTok, but this was like my first truly viral video on Instagram that hit over 100,000 views. And I was like, okay, this is really cool, you know? And it was something that was completely random. It was about Goldman Sachs breaking their Dallas, like, you know, starting their Dallas campus.
Yeah.
And so like out of all the videos that I've ever done on Instagram, that's the video that got like 2,500 plus shares.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was cool because it's about Dallas development and what's happening in Dallas.
Yeah.
And I knew it would do well, but I didn't think it would do that well.
Yeah.
So I thought it would get like, you know, 5,000, 10,000 views, but it got over, I think it's at like 120 now. Like, so it's pretty crazy. And, you know, that's a powerful tool. You put out content and people like it. And then the thing is consistency as well. Right. So I've been consistent with videos and like social media and posting, and like I think videos is probably the strongest, right? But then also it's just like pictures as well. Like, you know, people like to see, like, they don't like to know who they're working with. So you got to post a little bit about your personal life. You got to post a little bit about yourself and what's going on in life. And then obviously what's going on in the market, and then just be genuine, right? Like, because some people like, it's like all about like flashy lifestyle. And there's an audience for that. Yeah. And then there's an audience for like more, you know, like they're like, okay, I want my realtor to be more, you know, down to earth. So there's an audience for that. So there's different, and some people want their realtor to be a comedian, and there's an audience for that as well. So I think there's, you just have to find out what works for you. Don't get yourself caught up comparing like, oh my God, so-and-so gets so many deals from Instagram. Like you don't know where they're getting their deals from. You don't know if their brokerages is just like pumping up their numbers and like trying to get them like look like a superstar so they can recruit more agents. Like you never know what someone's doing. So like whatever works for them is great. It probably won't work for you because you're not them.
Yeah.
So I liked what you said about too, just posting content that's like relevant, because you know, from an outsider's perspective, they may be thinking like, okay, I just need to post a lot of real estate videos if I want real estate, you know, work. But you're posting stuff just about your life, but also just like stuff going on in the Metroplex, and that's getting you views too. So like that is a good method, and obviously people may or may not understand that, but it's good that you said that. And then also like when it comes to timing, because you mentioned there's videos, there's photos, do you have like a specific like schedule of like, this is the best time to post, this is the best time to push this out?
No, we don't time anything. It's just like, hey, drop it. Like it's ready, drop. It's ready, drop. You know, it's like we don't try to, because it's like if you try to sit there and try to figure out social media, what's the best time to post on Instagram, what's the best time to post on TikTok. Like I remember Googling that like 2-3 years ago, and you get all these answers. It's like, what's right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like more like a trial and error. Like of course now I'm not gonna post on like a Saturday night at like 10 p.m. But I see some people that do that, and it works great for them, right? Yeah. And so for me, it's just like, I just kind of go by generally like, okay, hey, lunchtime, post, people are scrolling.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, after like right after work, 5 p.m., people are scrolling while they're in traffic, which you shouldn't be. But you know,
Yeah.
it's a reality.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
scrolling while they're in traffic. Or it's like that 7 p.m. time, okay, they just got home, they already had dinner, now they're chilling, now they're scrolling. So that's
Right.
kind of like the timings that I think about is like, okay, hey, when am I going to be on social media, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like when we were in college, like everyone was just like, you know, it'd be like a Friday or Saturday night, and then everyone would go post the next day. Like at that time, it was much easier to figure out, like, because you know, it's like, oh, your friends just got done brunching or whatever, and like you know, I just remember because I picked this up from she was one of my friends in college. She's a marketing girl. She was like, oh yeah, she's like, I'll go out on a Friday night, and then Saturday around noon when everyone's waking up, I just drop a picture and I just get so many likes, and I was just like. Good thought process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's important though, like you said, consistency is the key. So
Yep.
yes, you can try to come up with, okay, these are the best times and all this stuff, but like you said, it's better to just, you got it ready, drop it.
Yeah.
Because you have the content, get it out there. You never know what's gonna hit, what's gonna be interesting to
pop off.
people. Yeah.
And then who will see it, right?
And you can
Yeah.
waste so much time like being concerned with all these other factors, and it's like just get it out there.
Oh yeah. I've talked to so many agents, and they're like, oh well, after I lose like 5 pounds or after I change my hair color, I'm like, you're gonna be waiting forever, because it's just like it's like you know, like of course, like nobody likes the sound of their own voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the way that they look, but to everyone else, it's like, that's normal. That's what you sound like. That's what you look like.
Yeah.
But we are our biggest critics, like, you know,
Yeah.
and I know we're like laughing about it, but like truly, like, you know, if I was like, oh my God, I'm going to wait till I lose 5 pounds till I start posting videos, or if I wait till I change my hair color, or I wait till I get braces, like, it's going to be like a real long wait. You know what I mean? So you just gotta do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'd love to transition into just talking about some of your client experiences, because these are always fun to unveil.
Yeah.
So tell us about maybe some of your funniest, scariest, most tragic client experiences that you've been through.
Well, how long do we have? No, just kidding.
Another 15.
Yeah. Man, there's so many good client stories. Like, first, I'll start off with my favorite, right?
Yeah.
I'll start off with my favorite, and this is a generic, like, because this happens all the time now. Family that I helped purchase 2019, 2020, 2021, and then they get to sell their house, and what they net after the sale, that's the best experience. Like, I love those stories, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm meeting up with a family that I helped in 2020 today. Like at like 2 p.m., we're going to go look at some homes in Duncanville, and that family, I helped them purchase their home for like $280 in 2020. I looked up the value yesterday. That home's worth $400 today.
Wow.
So I mean, they don't know this yet, but when I go to talk to them and tell them like, hey, your home's worth $400,000, like I just already know they're gonna be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, they're growing, their family's growing, and they're expecting their second, or planning. They're either expecting their second or planning for their second. And so the kids, so they're like, we're ready to grow. So it's just kind of nice to always grow with the family, right? Like, it's just like, it's like, it's such a blessing to see, like, oh, your clients got married. Oh, they had a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, it's like, you also deal with the sad things, right? Like, families members passing away, like, you know, like I just recently dealt with you know, a very emotional family. There were like 3 sisters, and their dad had passed away, so they had to you know, deal with the sale of the property. So I mean, you know, dealing with that, like, hey, this is the last memory of our dad and we're selling it, is like, it's tough, right? So you know, those type of experiences. And then of course there's always divorce. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with too many divorce deals, like maybe like 1 or 2 max. But those are hard as well, because it's just like, man, like, this was supposed to be a blessing, and it was supposed to be a good experience, but it didn't work out. So like, the good news is when they make money and they both walk away with, like, you know, $50K each too. So it's like, okay, let's find the blessing in this, right? But as far as like crazy deals that stand out, this one really stands out to me because I'll never forget. This was in the height of the pandemic and the craziest deal. We offered 100,000 above asking, and
Oh my
we
gosh.
offered to pay title, and we did a full appraisal waiver. So it was like, it doesn't matter what the house appraises at.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the house appraises at. And as is, no repair requests, and we still did not win.
What?
Wow.
So that was like one of the deals, and I was just like, is this real life? Like, is this going to be the rest of my life? Like, am I going
Yeah.
to be offering 100K above asking at all times?
Oh my gosh.
And that deal always will be engraved in my head.
Yeah.
And you know, because the other thing that was going through my mind at that time was like, I was like, this person has so much money that they're going to put 20% down. And then if it doesn't appraise, they're still going to bring an additional 100K down. I was like, this guy's balling.
Yeah.
So, and I was just like, why does he want this house that bad? But he wanted it. And the fact that he didn't get it, that means someone else spent more.
Wow.
So, and
Wild.
that story will always stick out to me. And some other stuff that sticks out to me is, like the crazy deals that you get, obviously, with like when you have like a good investment property listed, and then someone sends you like $50 million in proof of funds, and it's just like, there's so much money out there in the world. Like, it's like, and it some of them are like, like big cash fund buyers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you got your local investor that's also sending you like $20 to $30 million in proof of funds, and I'm just like, man, these guys are goals. Like, and
Yeah.
I mean, they are making it more difficult for people to buy. Like, everyone always is talking about like BlackRock and how many of the homes that they're buying up.
Yeah.
But watch out for those local investors, because those local investors,
Yeah.
they got the cash and they're
Yeah.
buying up properties. Like, a lot of these, and Arlington's a sweet spot. Like, they love buying like and the crazy thing is a lot of my houses that I list for clients and stuff like that in Arlington, those are the rentals that go the fastest and they go for the most money. Like, the sweet spot, like the 1,600 to 2,000 square feet in Arlington,
Yeah.
Yeah.
flies off the market.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So you've been in the business for a long time. Well, and you're not old, you're young.
Yeah.
Success has changed from you from the beginning till now, especially that you have a son. What do you define as success?
Success is just seeing my family happy. Like, now, like, I remember it was like, for me, first it was like, the awards, like top producer, first place out of 200 something agents. Like, I was like, I made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm successful. And that's a part of my journey. Like, that was like a big success. And that's why I'm sitting here right now and having it's all like becoming very real. And as the time goes, like, I'm sure I'm going to look back and hopefully there's more successes. And I'm like, but the ultimate success is like, my family's healthy, my family's happy, they're taken care of, like, and my friends are good, like, everyone's happy. Like, that's I mean, of course we all have our days. Nothing is perfect. You can't ever expect everything to be like, a fairy tale, right? But I'm more of like a half full versus half empty kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to look at the glass as half full. I'm always going to try to be like, more optimistic and trying to find the positives and stuff like that. But yes, for me right now, if life could be like this good all the time, I wouldn't be complaining. I'll be like, I'm very content right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I was going to say is I don't think I've ever seen you have a bad day. So, I mean, do you hardly ever have like once a month, once a year? I mean, what is it for you?
My family, they'll see me get upset, right? Like, I joked with my agents yesterday because, like, someone said something to me and it was just about like how much he works. And I was like, y'all never see me mad, but that made me mad because he was just like, oh, I'm not working that much. And I'm like, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? Because I'm not upset with him because of like, it's not about the amount of money he makes or anything like that. It's about like, what are you doing for yourself, right? Like, where are your goals and ambition? And not everyone's gonna have that, right?
Yeah.
But we all have our days, right? Like, I'm not perfect, like, and I'll never think that I am, right? I've messed up a lot of times, but it's part of my journey, right? Like, so it's all in the path, like, and the goal is trying to be better, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm very blessed. Like, I rarely have bad days, and majority of it's all good. Like, I think you kind of, and it's funny enough, like I did a podcast with Rogers Healy, and I asked him that same question. I was like, he was like, some days I get upset if agents leave, like, he was like, that would really upset me. But then he was like, I realize it's a part of their growth. It's a part of their journey. He's like, I shouldn't get upset over that. So I took that away as too, like, agents are going to leave. Agents are going to grow. It's all a part of it. You know what I mean? And some may come back, like, so nothing really upsets me. Like, nothing that like stands out that's like, oh my God, that really pisses me off. Like, you know what I mean? Just like, it is what it is. People are going to be people, right?
Yeah.
You can't control them. Like, so there's a lot of times where like wondering like what made that person do that, right?
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Yeah. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to come watch this back from 5 to 10 years to see how I answered this.
Yeah.
Hopefully with my family growing a little bit more, right? I'd love to have another kid and maybe another 2 if my wife's down. She's like,
good answer.
She's like, 1 more for sure. She's like, I don't know if I can do 2. I always pictured myself having 3 kids. Yeah. So, I'll probably be at like my son's like basketball game on the weekends, basketball or football game, soccer maybe, whatever he's passionate about. But yeah, no, just I see myself doing the same thing, working in my brokerage, helping people buy and sell real estate, helping my dad with his business, hopefully, like, helping him with the dealership, working along with my brother, building homes and selling our own homes. That's a big part of the vision. Growing the rental portfolio. So, all that's where I see myself 5 to 10 years. And then, we'll probably be, hopefully we're not above 100 agents. Hopefully we're just chilling at that, like, 100 agent mark, but killing it on the production level. Like, and maybe my vision will change. Maybe we'll be at 1,000 agents, who knows? But hopefully, like, I like managed chaos. I don't like chaos. I like manageable chaos.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see where I am. I'm going to come watch this 5 years from now. And then I got to watch it again 10 years from this day.
Yeah.
So if you could go back to your 18-year-old self, what would you say to him?
I would say you did a good job. Like, you stayed on the right path, and sure, you made mistakes, but like, I wouldn't say like, oh, get into real estate sooner or anything like that. Yeah. Even though like that would have been good. Like, but would I have met all those same people if I would have like not went to college? You know what I mean? Yeah. I would have missed out on all those experiences. A lot of people are so quick to want to get into like work, and they're like, oh, I can't wait to go to work. I can't wait to go to work. You're going to work the rest of your life. And college is something I'm a big like supporter of. It's just like those experiences, those days of like you getting to just chill with your friends and not like do anything and then just go out and have fun. Those are awesome. Like, if you're in college and you're watching this and you're seeing this, enjoy your time. Don't be in a rush to, start a family, to start like everything has its path, right? And I think like a lot of people, like I think we all probably see the same stuff on social media with like, there's so many expectations of, starting a family by like this year's old, having a kid by this year's old. It's like everyone's on a different path, starting a business. And like a lot of people hate on people that have a 9-to-5. There's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5. If that's what works for you, like that's great. Yeah. And then, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone either. Like, so like, I think that focus on yourself, what makes you happy. Right. And so, like everything that you're supposed to do and everything that you're supposed to earn, like every single dollar that you're going to earn, every single moment that you're supposed to have, you're going to have it. It's just like, I mean, I can't explain life. I'm not a philosopher, but that's what I'm getting at. Like, you'll have everything that's meant for you, you'll get.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the big questions that we like to end the podcast with revolves around your identity, because we came up with Greater Than Real Estate for the title, just really to help people think through, like, you are greater than real estate. Yeah. Like, that may be your job, but that's not who you are.
100%.
And so we love to just end it with, like, what do you find your identity in?
Yeah. So my identity is, like, first off, like, at first I was a son, right? Then I was a brother, and then, husband, now father, and then, of course, a brokerage owner and a real estate agent. And, hopefully my friends see me as a good friend, a good leader, right? Like those are the things that, like, if someone thinks about me, those are the things that I would want them to think about me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, those are the things I'd like to be identified as. And like, hopefully, to leave some kind of legacy, right? Like to like, 50, 60 years from now, when my son's like, oh my God, like, yeah, my dad, he was that guy. He did that.
He was him.
Yeah, he was him. Like, he was that guy. And he's like, of course I want him to set up, like, because I could have always just kind of got into the same path that, like, like, okay, I'm just going to do what my dad did and everything like that. But like, my son needs to have his own identity. I don't want his identity to be real estate. It's like, okay, cool. You got to go figure out what you got to do. And same thing with my brother, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's getting his civil engineering degree. And so it's like, hey, like, I got us this far. What are you gonna do? And you got to take us to the next level. And same thing with my son. He's got even bigger shoes to fill, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the goal, is to leave each generation with more. Because like my grandpa, they set up my dad and them in India so well, and even but my dad and them were like, we want more. So they came to the land of opportunity and they did more. And now as their son, like, it's like time to do more. And then my brother will do the same, and then my son, and even my daughter, future daughter, she's gonna do the same too.
Oh, so you want a daughter now?
Yeah, I do want a daughter.
Wow,
Yeah.
girl dad right
Yeah,
there.
girl dad. Hopefully I have in an ideal world, like 2 boys, 1 girl. You know what I mean? But if I'm outnumbered, if I have 2 girls, hey, it is what it is. I'll be spending a lot on bags if they're like anything like their mom.
Hey, less on cars.
Less on cars.
Yeah.
But then I can enjoy the cars too. I'm not going to enjoy a purse.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, now
That's
we've
awesome.
really enjoyed having you. I mean, I'm gonna, be a soundboard for what Gracie said. The amount of wisdom that you have at such a young age, and just how you handle yourself, it's just impressive. I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
So
And it's an honor that we get to know you and
yeah.
do life alongside you and learn from your success. And it's really great that we got to have you on the podcast so you can share that with the listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of agents are busy, but like when I first got in the industry, I reached out to you and you treated me like everybody else. So I really appreciate just how down to earth you are, just willing to meet with anybody just to give them your time, and time we know is money. So like I said, I don't think I can say more on how great of a guy you are and just how much you invest in people.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys, because you guys hyped me up this whole podcast. I really appreciate it. But I mean, I want to give you guys a shout out to the stuff that you guys are doing in the lending world, insurance world. Like, people are watching what you guys are doing, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So you guys are doing amazing things. And the fact that you guys are going out of your comfort zone, out of your time to meet with people, like, I always see like the posts that you guys make, and it's amazing, like, that you get, there's a lot of people that are cheering for your success as well. So I can't wait to see you guys continue to be a very successful power couple. So
Thank you.
you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, we want to give a huge shout out to Tap In Studios in Arlington. If you guys want to do a podcast, we can get you guys connected with him. And then big shout out to Nav Singh and Singh Real Estate Group. I had to make sure because I know he changed his name. Get a hold of Nav. He will take care of you. He will spend time with you. You're not a transaction to him. You are probably going to become family to him. And he's a comedian too. So he is really fun. So just want to thank everybody for coming out and watching this episode.